Good morning and welcome to Let's Talk Autism with Shannon and Nancy. I'm Nancy Alspaugh-Jackson.
And I'm Shannon Penrod.
Hello,
and
Shannon
I just have
Penrod.
to say, we love Samantha, and Samantha's doing a wonderful job. But we always forget, Samantha has made this wonderful opener for Let's Talk Autism with Shannon and Nancy. But we get all caught up in we're coming back and whatever, so we forget to show it. Can we show it later on, Samantha? Because it's absolutely beautiful what Samantha created, and I love it to death. But we keep forgetting to show it because we're so used to not. So we're going to show it later.
Good.
But in any case, Samantha's lovely, and she's just doing, and I'm so grateful to have her. So I just wanted to say that.
She's doing a great job.
She is doing a great job. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing good.
Is today Wyatt's last day of school?
Today is my son's last day of school, which I'm dreading.
Freshman year of high school.
Yeah, and I'm absolutely dreading.
Can I just say, though, what an accomplishment that is. He has completed freshman year of high school, and when I think of everything that you've gone through in the last 3 years,
yes, he had the
kudos,
loss of his
woman.
father, and
kudos, woman. And I also got to say, you got to go see Wonder Woman. All of the autism mommies out there have to go see Wonder Woman for so many reasons. I think it's a great film directed by a woman, and it puts things in an entirely different perspective. You can tell it's directed by a woman, and they have some women, especially in the beginning. You gotta love Robin Wright. She is a powerful, powerful woman who's in good shape at a certain age, and they show all these women doing things, but especially Robin Wright. And it just, I thought of my autism warrior mommies when I saw this movie. I thought of you. I thought of so many moms out there. You got to go see it. Because that's what you are. You're an autism warrior.
Well, thank you.
And
I have that tattooed on my wrist.
And you will see Robin Wright in this movie and go, dang, we are powerful. We are powerful. Anyway, and you'll feel that way about what you've just accomplished. Freshman year.
Yeah.
Done. You don't ever have to do that again.
No, we don't.
You're amazing. Anyway.
Now we have to look at what are we going to do this summer.
And we are going to talk about that.
How can I balance work and summer?
Yeah, it's nutty, but it can be fun.
Yeah.
Woohoo! I love summer. But we're going to start with some in the news.
Right.
A lot of good stories. Can I say this too? Last week we had a guest who was on the show with a book, How to Prevent Autism, and boy, did we get a lot of people who were fatoutsed about the interview.
Yeah.
And some of them were people who didn't even bother to watch the interview, but just saw what the title was and said, we're really angry. Other people watched the interview and still felt. What they didn't see was the discussion you and I had afterwards, where we both said, boy, it does make you go to that place of, so is it back on me as a parent?
Is it back on me? Did I fail?
Did I fail?
Not do enough to prevent autism?
Which I do not think is what the book is saying, but I think it is a natural recourse that's what we hear as autism parents. But there was a lot of negativity that came from parents about the fact that that this is snake oil and that we shouldn't even be talking about it. And I just want to reiterate for any of you who are feeling that way, I want to encourage you to Google P2I autism. Because those are the studies that I am the most familiar with, and the entire state of Georgia is participating in a study right now about P2I, which is preconception through early childhood, about ways to make children healthier to prevent all kinds of things, pediatric cancers, juvenile diabetes, autism is one of the many things, and even preventing miscarriages. And they've had great, great success. This is not snake oil. By addressing what the environmental toxin load is and what's already going on with the individual mother and correcting some things, they have found that they can all but eliminate, again, miscarriage, pediatric cancers, juvenile diabetes, and the more disabling aspects of autism. It's not, we are on the cusp of being in a place where that's a reality. The studies are showing that. And
but is that taking into account some of the genetic markers and some of the immune, this whole thing that we have coming up about 8 antibodies that's made by a mother's immune system?
It absolutely does, because what they did for the first 2 rounds of the P2I was that they only had parents of people who had either siblings or that they had had a child already or multiple children already that were on this spectrum. So the understanding was that statistically, those parents were more likely to have a child who was on the spectrum, and they did the protocol with them, and they have had 0 cases of autism. Now, that is statistically not possible, because even if we say, okay, well, maybe it was just lucky that they didn't have a child, the next child, because, statistically they maybe, but they should have had some. We have a population that suggests that 1 in 64 is the official word right now, and 0 out of hundreds of births, 0 miscarriages, 0 childhood cancers, 0 kids with juvenile diabetes. That is not snake oil. That is
so one would surmise from that despite certain genetic contributions and immunological,
that you have the ability,
that the environment still is a powerful interaction with that.
But it does require you to take certain supplements and correct certain issues if you have certain genetic predisposition.
Okay.
So you can't just eliminate the environmental toxins. Some people had to take supplements. Other people had to do, certain procedures before they began that took care of things.
I can see, though, why parents would be upset by this.
It's hard to hear. It's hard to hear. And so it leads into this next story that Judy Vandewater, who is a neuroimmunologist, has been working in the field for a long time trying to establish a blood test that would show the markers in a mother that would say that she is predisposed to have a child who's on the autism spectrum.
Right. She identified 8 autoantibodies made by a mother's immune system that appeared to be linked with autism risk if they crossed the placenta.
And, I've seen Judy Vandewater speak. She's a very responsible physician. And her position was, this is information. This is not to deter anyone from doing anything, but if people are looking for information, that they would have the information. I understand it's emotional for people. I know that when I was pregnant with my son, I was 40, about to be 41, and they were talking to me about the risks of having a child with Down syndrome. And I said to them, I don't care. That was my response. I don't care. Now, my particular HMO required me to take certain genetic testing to see what my risk load was, and then they encouraged me to get an amniocentesis before continuing on with the pregnancy. That one was optional, and I said, I don't want it because it's not going to matter to me. I want this child no matter what. They forced me, though, to get the genetic testing and to sit with a woman who is a thalidomide baby.
Really?
An adult thalidomide baby, and they force you to sit across from her while she explains all the things that potentially could, and I found that really, I said, boy, this is amazing, but you're not going to talk me out of, I want this child and I want this child. However, and at one point I said to her, if you had the opportunity, would you go back and say to your mother, to not have you? And she said, of course not. And I said, well, then we're done.
So it's almost like, that is shocking to me that they forced you to sit there across from her and talk to her.
Well, that's her job. And they say, oh, we just happened to have hired this woman who is severely disabled.
Right.
And I love that she's got this job, and she was very good at her job and talked to me about all the ramifications. But you can't tell me that it's coincidental that this is who they've hired to have this conversation with you. And I understand people get emotional, but nobody is talking about anything other than sharing information.
Right.
And that's what they said to me. We're sharing information.
A lot of people consider this eugenics, though.
I get that. And for some people, perhaps that would be the case. Perhaps some people would have the test, see that they were more prone to have a child with autism, and decide that their life did not support that. Perhaps that is what they would choose. I would make the argument that if that is what they would choose, then that is a better choice for them. But I still want to say that there are many of us who, when faced with knowing that you're at risk for things, go, I love this child, I'm forging ahead, I will meet what comes to me head on. I don't think that saying let's not share the information is the answer. And they're very close to being at a point where they will be able to have this out for mothers, prospective mothers, to be able to have this blood test.
And once they have that information, though, what would they do with it?
Well, I think that some people will make informed choices about whether or not that they want to have children. But I also think that what this will do will spur researchers on, and perhaps the people involved with P2I will share their research with them, which shows that they've been able to take people who have had these kinds of markers, give them certain supplements, take away their exposure to other things, and still have a child that doesn't have autism, which to me is where we need to get. We need to get to the point, and for those people who are on the autism spectrum that say, no, we don't need to get to a point where, you know, we've eliminated this, I would say at least let us look at the more disabling aspects.
Right,
we just had a question come in about somebody who is 15 years old, who has autism, who is not potty trained, is not able to sleep, has seizures. And, you know, I don't think anybody thinks, you know, that's a great thing for that person to be going through or their family members. Let's make sure that we have our best chance medically to prevent that kind of a circumstance, not prevent that life at all, but let's prevent the circumstances that are hindering that life.
The disabling aspects of it. Okay. Also in the news, Isabel Rappin, who is a Swedish-born child neurologist, and she helped establish autism's biological underpinnings and advanced the idea that autism was part of a broad spectrum of disorders, died recently, May 24th, in Rhinebeck, New York. She was 89 years old. She helped debunk the myth that emotionally cold mothers were to blame for their children's autism, and she advocated early educational intervention for children with autism.
And by all accounts, widely considered one of the founding mothers of autism, and we want to salute her and her family. And, you know, what a great loss. And a doctor at a time when it was not the common thing for a woman to be a doctor.
Right.
One of the colleagues that commented said, you know, I was there and saw her lecture and convene with many other male scientists, and that she was always, you know, very respectful and showed deference to the male colleagues. And this male colleague said, I don't think it ever occurred to her that she was on the same level. I think it probably did. I think she already knew that she was on the same level. I think maybe it didn't occur to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To have said that about her,
right.
I'm like, really? Yeah, no, she knew what she was doing. Thanks. Thanks for your input.
Yeah. And also we've got ABC has one of their new fall shows, The Good Doctor, and it's about a doctor with autism who happens to be a savant too.
Yes. But you know, isn't it interesting how much has changed in the last 5 years in Hollywood, and their perception of autism and their desire to keep coming back to that pool and depict. I can remember 5 years ago and us going, oh my gosh, Parenthood has a character and they're talking about autism and he's just a character on a show.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, our heads are going to explode. And now we see it time and time again in movies, and there's more and more of it happening. Speechless, which is an amazing show if people have not seen, which features a boy who's not on the autism spectrum, but who communicates with one of the laser lights on a keyboard and is in a wheelchair. But one of his best friends has autism, who's played by somebody who's been on this show with us. And you know, and they made a statement this week saying we are committed to casting individuals with different abilities in these acting roles. It's a very exciting time that we live in. But the Good Doctor...
It's not, the actor who's playing him, Freddie Highmore, does not have autism.
No.
We want to say. And it doesn't, so far, it doesn't appear that any of the rest of the cast members have autism.
But many people from the autism community were consulted in the making of this project, and I know I'm looking forward to seeing it.
Yes.
And it doesn't shy away from the topic. So often, you know, they'll say, well, he's different or whatever. But I'm very excited to see. And
some people are a little upset that he's got to be a savant, which might promote a misconception. that all people with autism are savants.
But we have savants.
We do.
I mean, that is a real thing. We have a savant who's going to be on the show with us in a little while.
That's right, we do.
So, why not show that there are plenty of episodes of things where we're seeing people who are not savants or nonverbal, and not to say that you can't be a savant and be nonverbal, but we're seeing other aspects of it. So why not, I say. And we should note that this is based on a show out of South Korea that started and was very popular with a pediatric surgeon who was on the autism spectrum. So very interesting. ABC
I'll be
this
watching.
fall, The Good Doctor. I'll be watching as well. Hopefully we can get them on the show to talk about that.
And from the Mighty comes a story about, or actually, and it was an interview with Colin Farrell. And they wrote up 7 points, quotes from Colin for parents of a child with a disability that they felt every family member should hear. Now, for those of you that don't know, Colin Farrell, who's just such a tremendous actor.
He's yummy.
He's incredible.
He's just so yummy.
He is. His son James was diagnosed with Angelman syndrome, which is a rare genetic disorder that occurs in 1 in 15,000 children, and it's often misdiagnosed as cerebral palsy or autism. And from what I understand, the symptoms are similar to autism.
Yeah. But he has, I think it's so interesting. There are some people in the Hollywood community that choose, and I think within their rights, to be silent and not come forward and talk about their child's disabilities or different abilities. But he has been very forthcoming. He talked about this on the David Letterman show many years ago and said, my child has Angelman. And you have to applaud that.
Yeah,
while I don't disagree with celebrities who say, I'm not going to put my child through that, when a celebrity comes forward and says, I want to let people know that I'm dealing with this, I think it is something that is newsworthy and something that they should be lauded for, because that puts them in the spotlight.
Right.
And he has been willing to be in the spotlight, and I really respect that.
And apparently he appeared at, there's an organization called Gate Path that does job intervention, job training for adults and seniors with disabilities. And he was there at their 2017 Power of Possibilities event. And they say Gate Path is a role model for turning disabilities into possibilities. So we want to applaud him for taking part in that event.
Absolutely. And again, these 7 things, and we're going to go over them really quickly, aren't we? But the whole article is available on The Mighty. We love themighty.com, and we love that it features people of all abilities, and there is one thread in particular on The Mighty that just deals with autism. So it's a great place to check out inspiring stories that will make you feel uplifted. Should we go over the 7 things that Colin Farrell said that everybody should hear?
The first one, don't let others' judgment take away your child's magic.
Isn't that the truth? The second one, never let anyone say never when it comes to your child's abilities. Don't let them get away with that.
Then never let yourself judge what your child is capable of achieving.
Don't doubt your child has a voice. It's up to you to hear it.
Your child will bring out the best in you.
Your child will make a difference if only given a chance to contribute.
Anything is possible when we open the doors of opportunity for all.
And I think, that goes right back to what Act Today does, is that, so often people need things to be able to help their kids.
And it might be that one step, that one drop that creates.
Yep. And everybody deserves the opportunity, and I know that's you get up every single morning and say, how many people can I help have the opportunity to help their kid, and that's what Act Today does. So we applaud you too.
Well, thank you
for doing that.
And thank you for being a part of Act Today.
Well, it's my pleasure. And now, speaking of, we were just talking about savants before. We've got a great guest that's coming up in just a couple of minutes here.
We sure do.
Robert Gagnon, who is the pinball wizard, is going to be joining us via Skype in just a few minutes.
This young man's gotten a lot of attention for his accomplishments and his exploits with the pinball machine.
Yes, and he's got a film that's coming out that he's going to be talking with us about, but we're also going to talk about how he became a pinball wizard and whether he likes the attention that he's getting.
Right.
So
as one of the top pinball players in the world.
In fact, he won the 2016 championship.
Right, he did.
And we have every reason to believe that he'll come back in 2018 and they put these banners up for each year, and so we have the expectation we'll see more of his banners coming up in future years. So definitely you're going to want to stick around for that. We're going to take a short break, and we'll be back with Robert. Stick with us.
Is the Act Today, One Hope Act Today for Military Families Run and Festival, and it's to benefit military families challenged by autism. So we're out here for a great day. Not only is there a 10K run, a 5K run, and a 1 mile fun run, there's a kids run and there's an Easter egg hunt. Military families are particularly hard hit because they have very special circumstances.
I have 3 kids in my family. My nephew has 3 children that are all on the spectrum. And for me, it originally became about understanding and learning about autism. And then it became about, what can I do to help? It takes $3 million to raise a child through their lifetime with autism. That's a great reason to get involved.
On your mark, get set.
One Hope Wine is the 7th annual title sponsor of the One Hope Act Today for military families because we believe that giving back is good business. Of-age runners are probably going to meander over to the One Hope and Stone Beer and Wine Garden for a celebratory glass. For the younger generation, the Family Fun Zone.
This is a big thing for us because it's about getting more treatment to more people, raising awareness. It's a really good event. We're proud to be a part of it for 7 years now, and we're a local office, so we wanted to be here.
Stroller Warriors is a free running club for military spouses and their families. A lot of us are impacted by autism, so it's just a great way for us to get together and raise some money and bring attention to this important cause.
I think people forget the people element involved with autism. The families that are suffering, the children that are suffering.
Society could be robbed of so much untapped potential, talent, and skills if we're not helping the children of these military families as much as any other children out there. Not just those suffering with autism, but those struggling.
People should get together and tell their friends and family to donate to Act Today. It's a really important cause, one that's close to our heart and the San Diego community as a whole, and an incredible opportunity to support the military. So get out there and donate.
Opener.
Isn't that great? Samantha did a great job with it.
Fantastic.
And we are excited to be here right now because joining us via Skype is Robert Gagnon. He is the the pinball wizard.
The pinball wizard.
He's 28 years old, on the autism spectrum, and everyone refers to him as the pinball wizard. He's gotten a great deal of attention. He, in fact, won the world championship for pinball in 2016 and has a film that is coming out on HBO called Wizard Mode. So, Robert, thank you so much for joining us.
HBO doesn't have the same time.
And so it looks like you got the poster there behind you for the film. When will the film be able to be viewed on HBO?
It came out the late May.
In late May.
Okay, so it's already out. Okay, great.
Okay. And you were also featured on Bryant Gumbel's show, Real Sports.
Yes.
Which was a great profile of you, Robert.
It really was. So, Robert, let's talk a little bit first about you're 28 years old, on the autism spectrum. Tell us about how old you were when you first discovered pinball.
Like 7.
And tell me 3 things that you love about being able to play pinball.
The playfield design.
Okay.
Shooting a ball around the playfield.
Yeah.
And getting to come up with a strategy.
Okay.
Coming up with a strategy. Okay.
And I hear that your strategies are something that you keep very private, that you don't share those with anybody else.
Yes, I do keep them confidential.
Okay. We won't ask you any questions about that. You go ahead, Nancy.
Well, now when you were very young when this first started, and how did you know you were good at this? How did that reveal itself to you?
I think I just discovered it naturally more.
Okay. And I understand you have a different way of looking at pinball than some people do. Can you tell us how you visualize it?
Just like reading the speed, calculating the ball speed, and I tend to make calculations in my head all the time.
Okay.
I love hearing that. I want to know, you must practice, right? I saw on the Brian Gumbel thing that you have a couple of rooms that you have, 13 pinball machines that you practice on?
Yes.
So when you get up on a typical day, how many hours do you spend playing pinball?
Depends. Sometimes 5, sometimes none.
Okay.
But also right now I'm going to school.
Oh, okay. What are you going to school for?
Computer certificates, for computer systems certificate.
Okay. Wonderful. And I want to know what does it mean when you do a half jacket?
It means I'm in a multi-ball.
Okay, so tell our viewers, what is a half jacket?
Half jacket is like when I have my jacket on, except I have my shoulders showing, basically.
So you'll be playing in a tournament, wearing your jacket, and then it goes wildfire through the tournament that you've gone half jacket, and you take the jacket down so we can see your shoulders. Why do you do that?
Because with my reputation of this now, it allows me to communicate to the entire crowd something is going good.
Okay, so it's when things are going good. Is that so? When you get a multi-ball, what does that mean? Because I'm not good at pinball. I gotta admit.
It's like playing multiple balls on the playfield at once.
How do you get a second ball? Do you have to get a certain number of points?
No, you have to like lock a ball or do a certain number of sequence.
Okay. Are you good at pinball, Nancy?
No, I mean I played it years and years ago, but I'm not good at it.
I get one ball and it ends up going through because I can't pay attention to all the things that you have to pay attention to. But I understand, Robert, that you've even been tested by experts who have determined that your ability to be able to see the whole picture and see the whole playfield is something remarkable that many people don't have. Is that true?
Yes.
I bet the other players are jealous that you're able to. Okay.
You go to a lot of big tournaments, Robert. Tell us about what it's like getting ready for the tournaments. How do you prepare for them? And, how do you get ready to go and meet your competition?
I just go there and have a good time, basically.
So you don't do any special prep at home prior to your tournaments?
Not always, no.
Okay.
What about preparing for the travel? Do you have a special routine for that?
Just pack a day and be ready to leave by tomorrow.
Do you pack your own suitcase, Robert?
Yes.
And do you have because I'm just teaching my son who's on the autism spectrum how to pack his suitcase. Do you have a system that you do it with? Do you pack one day's outfits all together? Do you pack the socks all in one place? How do you do it?
I just create like a list.
Okay.
And how old is your son?
He just turned 14 last week.
Can he talk?
Yep, he can talk. Nancy has a son who's on the spectrum too.
Yes, we both are autism moms.
How old is he?
Mine is 15.
And can he communicate?
Yes, he can communicate.
Can he use language?
Yes, he can use language.
They both do.
Uh-huh.
And I think my son has played pinball once, but now I want to take him to play pinball again. Is there anything I should know to teach him before he plays pinball again?
Watch some live tutorials.
Okay. See, that would never occur to me.
Lots and lots of what?
Live tutorials.
Oh, live tutorials.
That would never occur to me.
You can find tutorials on YouTube pretty well about anything these days.
That's true. It just never occurs to me.
Now, because you were on HBO Real Sports, and apparently a clip of that show really went viral, and you were in a BBC article, you've gotten a lot of attention for your talents. How do you feel about being a pinball celebrity?
It feels really cool.
What do you like about it? Tell us 3 things you like about it.
People were excited to see me at shows.
Okay.
A second one is people wanting pictures with me at times.
You like that?
Yes.
Okay.
And 3, getting recognition at the Vancouver Circus School and getting a Vancouver Circus School recognition.
Very cool. Now, you like the attention and you like people wanting to take a picture with you, but I saw on the Brian Gumbel thing that you don't like it when people get too close. Is that just when you're playing the pinball or in general?
When I'm playing.
Okay, so if people come up to you at an event, if somebody wants to give you a hug, is that okay with you?
Yes.
Okay. Well, we appreciate that. So this, the HBO airing of Pinball Wizards started in May.
Wizard Mode.
Wizard Mode, excuse me. What did I say?
It's okay. Pinball Wizard, because that's the name of the famous Who song.
Which I understand they got excited about what you were doing as well. What did the Who, how did they reach out to you? Did they call you or email you or?
Show.
Okay. But so how can people watch this movie now? Is it still available on HBO? We didn't hear what you said.
You can also watch it on Netflix.
Netflix. Okay. I love watching things on Netflix.
So Wizard Mode is the name.
And we have a trailer from it that we'd like to show.
Okay.
So let's show
take
the
a
trailer.
look, and we'll be right back with you, Robert.
Wow, this is huge. Do you know where the tournament area will be?
I think it's probably going to be over there in that far corner over there.
Just wait till you see how loud it'll get on Saturday. Just wait till you see how loud it is.
We are at Penrod 2014. This is the A finals. We have all been playing pinball for an incredible number of hours.
It's really hard to get multi-ball on this one, right?
Yes.
I think you won. Very good.
Pinball tournaments are really challenging to win.
I think you have to have a natural passion for a certain thing. If you want to get good at something, you have to feel that passion in you.
I'd always go to Wally Burgers. I took Robert there just for, it was a game in the corner. I think that was really the first time he ever played pinball. 4 or 5 years old, and then after that, he was hooked on them.
It feels amazing when you can just hit everything you want. To me, I call that being in the zone. I think I was meant to play pinball.
He just was different. I just remember, like, if I'd hold him, like, he'd be sort of like this dead weight. And I thought, okay, that's weird. By the time he was 3, he got diagnosed with autism and a mild mental handicap.
To me, autism is something, if I have it, I don't even care about it. I want to be treated just as a typical individual who doesn't have autism. Sometimes it seems like my parents don't feel confident with me being out there on my own.
You think you'd like to have a full-time job?
I want independence.
So that's why you need a job too. Because, yeah, one day down the road, I'm not going to be around to help keep an eye on you.
I like being in control all the time. And I feel in some situations you can't be in control of. It's just not an option for me to quit, no matter how hard and frustrating the obstacle is going to be.
It was really incredible. Robert, how do you feel about being an inspiration to a lot of people?
Good.
Yeah. Do you feel like you can help people learn a little bit about autism as well when you speak to them?
Yes.
I'm excited about the fact that you're working a job. Tell us a little bit about where you're working and tell us 3 things that you're responsible for at your job.
Concierge.
You're a concierge?
I've done that.
Okay, but where are you working right now?
Bank.
Oh, at a bank. Okay.
What do you do at the bank?
I greet people sometimes.
Uh-huh.
I handle people's statements, or I'm filing work orders.
Okay.
Wonderful. And so, do you have to take a lot of time off to be able to go to pinball tournaments?
No, I don't.
Okay. I never hear about pinball tournaments. When will the 2018 tournament be?
Next May.
Next May.
And are you planning on going and trying to be the champion again?
Yes.
Where will it be held?
Toronto next year, from what I've been hearing.
Are they usually in Canada?
U.S. and then next year in Europe.
Okay. Okay. Really remarkable.
Now, your parents have been a big source of support to you. Can you tell us about them? How have they helped you?
Gave me speech therapy.
Okay.
Okay. And that's helped you communicate?
Yes.
And they're very proud of you, I bet.
Yes.
That's a wonderful thing. I love seeing how excited your dad gets when you're playing the pinball game. That your dad, you can tell he's just playing it with you. He's with you 100%. Does your mom go to the tournaments too?
Yes.
Does she get as excited as your dad does?
I don't know.
Oh, well, yeah, you're busy playing, so how would you know? Of course not. We think what you're doing is incredible, and we're really excited for you and for this film, Wizard Mode. We want to remind everybody you can watch it on HBO, or you can get it on Netflix right now, and get to see some of the amazing things that Robert has had a chance to do, but also some of the challenges that he has faced and continues to overcome. Robert, really think that you're remarkable. If you ever get to Los Angeles for a tournament, make sure you let us know. We'd like to have you come and be on the show in the studio.
All right.
And good luck with all your pinball competitions coming up.
And one more thing we should point out, because we're talking a little bit about interests, you do other things besides playing pinball. What are 3 other things that you like to do besides pinball?
Gymnastics.
Yeah, we saw that in the film, in the trailer. Anything else besides gymnastics?
Let's see. Hiking.
Okay.
Hiking.
And also cycling.
Okay, I heard you're good at board games too.
Oh, I love board games.
Well, okay, what's your favorite board game?
Settlers of Catan.
Oh, which I have, but I don't know how to play.
Okay.
What else? What else is on your list of favorite games? Your top 3: Settlers of Catan, 2 more.
Ticket to Ride.
Okay, I have that and haven't played it too. All right, what else?
See, Ticket to Ride. Let me think on this one. Skull.
I don't know that one. Well, you like the sort of specialty board games, it sounds like.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'm impressed.
Also, Escape from the Lost Island's a pretty good one too.
Escape from Lost Island?
It's a zombie game.
Okay. I got to check these out. Good recommendations. I'm all about games.
Well, it's been great having you on the show today, since you are so world renowned now for this is sport now. This is considered a sport.
It's kind of like one thing that some of us don't seem to get sometimes still is when they show poker on like the sports network.
Right. But pinball is a sport, and you are one of the champions of the sport. So it's been an honor having you here with us today.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks for being with us. And again, we want to tell people, check out the film Wizard Mode on Netflix and on HBO. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you, Robert.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye, Robert.
Bye.
What an inspiration.
I know, and fascinating. The film I found fascinating.
All right, well, we're going to take a break, and then we're going to come back and quickly talk about summer schedules and why I'm looking forward to it and Nancy's dreading
And I'm dreading.
Okay. All right, stick with us.
Right.
Hello, fellow activists. In our last segment, we talked about step number 4, run your own race, don't compare. Your child has their individual journey. Moving on to step number 5, shore up spiritually. Now, spirituality is a very loaded word. It means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. I'm not talking about religion in the traditional sense. I'm talking about a practice, a belief system, or a ritual that speaks to your soul. Now, that doesn't have to be found in a church or a synagogue, although it may well for you. It could be found out in nature. Your altar could be a redwood tree. Your hymns could be birds singing overhead. It's different things to different people. In the early days of Wyatt's autism, I don't know how I could have survived without my church. In addition to dealing with his diagnosis, I was dealing with my husband's battle with cancer, the aging of my parents who lived across the country, and their eventual passing. I knew I could find peace, at least for an hour and a half, sitting in the pew of my church. See, anything can become a spiritual practice if you approach it that way. And for me, it wasn't found in a sermon or in a religious doctrine, but in my fellow man. We'll talk more about that next. In the meantime, find out what speaks to your soul and keep the faith.
Welcome back.
We're back. What a remarkable young man. What a great story. And so, that the song Pinball Wizard, which people of our generation, of course, know, it feels so close to his story, although, back at that time it was about somebody who was deaf and blind.
Yes, absolutely. I'm just reading a comment that had come in with one that I didn't see when we were here with Ask Dr. Doreen. One of the things that we talked about is that we always talk about this, that there's a prescription for autism. And if you have a child who's 2 or 3 or 4, the prescription really is that you should be getting 40 hours a week. And as much as we say it, I'm shocked still that because nobody else is saying it.
Right.
Your insurance company won't tell you that, your pediatrician won't tell you that, and it's unconscionable because that's what all the studies say. It makes me nuts. So we try to say it as much as possible. And Sarah wrote in and said, my God, we only got 10 hours at age 2 through early start. With insurance at age 3, we got 0 unless we switch to an HMO, which we plan on. But I doubt 40, and thank you for your urgent message. Petition, get in a room with them, because there's a way that you can file a complaint. Get in a room with them and say, show me the study that shows, I'm in the wrong camera, show me the study that shows the efficacy of whatever else they're saying that's lower than 40, and if you want to, write to me and I'll send you with a passel of studies that say you've got to be between 30 and 40. And once you start saying that, they will capitulate and they will give you the 40. They will.
We were at 30 when Wyatt was almost 5. That's
Right.
what we first started with.
Jem's first year, we were at 40. For a full year, we ramped up to, I shouldn't say for the full year, we ramped up to 40, and then in the second year, we went down to 32. But you've got to be in that window, and don't let anybody tell you other words. Fight. And someone else wrote in and said, I have mild autism and have trouble making friends. I don't want any friends, but everyone says I need them. I like my own company. We hear that from many adults who are on the autism spectrum, that they'll say to me, well, but I don't want friends.
Right.
And my thing that I would say to you is, you know, we've seen that with other adults who are on the autism spectrum who then went through a process where they found out how to have a friend, and then they got the friend, and then afterwards they go, oh, I didn't know it could be like that. So it's kind of like somebody saying to you, you know, do you want a Porsche? And you go, well, I don't need a Porsche. Why would I need a Porsche? I can just deal with a car. But until you've driven a Porsche, maybe you don't know if you want a Porsche or not. So worth it to try one friend and see if you like it, and then you can say, I don't like it so much.
Yeah.
But my mother always said, I'm not saying you have to be a good housekeeper, but I want you to know how to do it so it's your choice.
Right.
So I'd like for you to know how to have a friend and keep a friend, and then it's your choice of whether you choose to or not. But we promised we were going to talk a little bit about summer.
Summer schedule.
I love summer, and I love the summer schedule.
Why you love the summer schedule?
Okay,
And why you love
well, I
summer,
like it because I get to call the shots, and because we get to cherry pick what we want to work on, and we always leave time for fun. But
Okay.
we started, and this is for any age and any ability. I can remember when Jem was 3, Card had us make a visual schedule, and we couldn't just. At that point, Jem was just getting into Legos, and then that's all he wanted to do. Our kids tend to be perseverative, and they're like,
Right.
Before Legos, it was take apart the vacuum cleaner, okay? So and that's all he wanted to do. But then it was Legos, I want to do Legos. And while that was great, and we didn't want to take the Legos away, they said we want to build varying different interests. So we had, and there's a video that we've got somewhere about doing playstations, and he was assigned on a visual schedule, you have to play with this for 20 minutes, you have to play with this for 20 minutes. And what that did was create a versatility with him, and it helped him prepare for kindergarten so he could change transitions from centers that they do at kindergarten. And we've continued that mode even after Card was done with that, so that he would have varied interests, and I continue that now. Now he has a schedule every morning, well, it's not every morning now, where he has to do certain things. Like he has to read for 20 minutes, he has to write a paragraph, he has to do 20 minutes of math, which he does on an app. He has to do things like take a shower, brush his teeth, brush his hair, make his bed, eat breakfast, those kinds of things. But the rest of it, and that all has to happen in the morning, but the rest of it, he now at this point gets to choose when he does it. But until the whole list is completed, there's no screen time.
Okay.
No phone, because that's his currency. Now, other kids, first you have to find out what is the currency, what is the thing that they're willing to work for. And the key thing is that it has to be tailored to them, and you can't make the list so long that they go, who cares? Because if it's not worth it to do the thing they want to, then it's not going to happen. So it has to be just under where they go, yeah, I'd rather do that so that I can have access to the thing I want to. But in past years, we've picked a passel of things that we wanted to work on. We always work on his diction because his speech is a little bit, people have a hard time still understanding some of the things that he says, although it's gotten so much better. But so last year we had to do a certain number of tongue twisters every day. And we'll do that this year. It's just
I'm so impressed. This sounds so, like, really.
I'm a teacher.
You're a teacher.
And with a teacher, you plan.
Right.
And when you have a plan, you accomplish things.
See,
and I think people who don't have that background miss that boat.
That's what I don't like about Summer, is that he's got the hours off of school.
Right.
And what do I do with him?
Right. But if you just were to sit, we can sit down and plan together. And if you say, well, what do I want to have accomplished at the end of the summer? So you pick like 4 or 5 things and go, here are the areas that I would like. Like I was just saying that I'm teaching Jem how to pack his suitcase. And you were like, that's amazing. And I said, no, you're the woman who taught your kid how to make breakfast so that when he was 12, he was making eggs and,
that's true.
You know, and makes his own coffee and stuff. You prioritized. You said, we're going to teach you how to do this.
Or he actually did it on his own. He asked me.
Okay, he showed interest and then you followed through on it. But there's other things that he wants to know how to do too. We all pick what we want to focus on. But then once you pick what you want to focus on, you got to make time for it.
Okay.
And for each kid, that's going to take a different amount of time. And then you pick your approach, which makes it reinforcing. So, you know, if your kid loves to go swimming, you know, but you want them to make their own bed, you got to make your bed before you can go swimming.
Okay.